During the Napoleonic Wars, the Duc de Richelieu was meeting with his military strategists, planning a battle. One of his advisors pointed to a river on the map, put his finger on a certain spot at the river, and said, "This is where we need to cross." The Duke said, "Excellent, sir, but your finger is not a bridge." To cross over a river or a chasm, we need a bridge. We need something to span the distance between this side and the next. We need something to fill in the gaps. One of the greatest Civil War generals was Stonewall Jackson. One day his troops came to a small river. He said to his engineers, "I need you to design and build a bridge to get these troops across this river." To his wagon master he said, "We need to get across this river right away." So the wagon master gathered together some of the men, and they found stones and logs and pieces of fence post and put together a makeshift bridge. Before dawn, the wagon master reported to the general that the artillery and the wagons had already crossed over the river. Jackson was overjoyed and said, "Where are my engineers, that I may thank them?" The wagon master said, "The engineers are still in the tent drawing up plans for a bridge." We need many bridges in life, not all of them made of log and stone. All around us we see chasms, deep and seemingly unbridgeable chasms between nations, huge chasms between political parties, gaping chasms between individuals. We find enormous chasms between families, or even worse, between members of the same family. We are in sore need of bridges. Who will build them? Spanning the Connecticut River between Vermont and New Hampshire stands a bridge on which is inscribed a fragment of a poem which first appeared in 1900. A poem which has inspired the lives of many over the past century and more. An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray to a chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fear for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. "Old man," said a fellow pilgrim near, "you are wasting your strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again will pass this way. You've crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build this bridge at evening tide?" The builder lifted his old gray head. "Good friend, in the path I have come," he said, "there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been as naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building this bridge for him." We all need bridge builders, and we all need to be bridge builders. In the words of Isaac Newton, we build too many walls and not enough bridges. We know the chasms between people and between peoples, so many chasms in need of a bridge. But there are even greater chasms, a chasm between us and God, a chasm between what we are and what we could be, a chasm in sore need of being bridged. And there is an even more fundamental chasm which we find when we look inside our own hearts. All of us are in some way or another broken people. Perhaps we will find there the chasm of loneliness, perhaps the chasm of pride and selfishness, or the chasm of prejudice and hatred. Certainly we will find inside us a very deep chasm of pain and sorrow and fear, a chasm that is screaming out for a bridge. The Christ comes along, not like the engineers in the tent designing a bridge, not as the bridge builder, but as the bridge. He comes, as in the 1969 Paul Simon song, like a bridge over troubled waters, I will lay me down. Christ enters our heart to bridge the chasms of unlovingness, the chasms of unlovedness, with the only thing capable of bridging them, which is love. Let us allow him into our heart to be the bridge inside of us, and to emanate from us, that we too may be not merely bridge builders, but bridges, that we too may be the Christ to others, the Christ who did not sit in the tent like the engineers, but laid himself down, the Christ who did not send us a book on how to live, but lived, the Christ who did not build a bridge, but is the bridge, the Christ who continues to live in us so that we too may be that bridge to the world. To return to Stonewall Jackson, on May the 10th, 1863, the great general lay dying. In his final delirium, he kept shouting out military commands, till all at once in mid-sentence he stopped and was silent. Then he broke out into a serene smile and said, "Let us cross over the river and rest under the shade of the trees." With that smile and with those words, he breathed his last. He had found the bridge to cross over to the other side. When we feel we are walked upon, even trampled upon, remember that we are, after all, bridges. Sometimes we find that the only bridge capable of spanning the chasm is the cross. The Duc de Richelieu was right. Your finger is not a bridge. You are the bridge.